Double Dragon.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hello everybody and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian and today I'm playing Miirym, Sentinel Wyrm. This is a teamer dragon that's green, blue, and red that copies dragons. If you have Miirym on the battlefield and another dragon enters the battlefield, you make a copy of it. And that copy is not legendary, which means that you can even copy some sweet legendary dragons like Lathliss and Lozhan. Miirym is also protecting herself a little bit, has that ward too, so all you need to do is get her out on the battlefield, keep her alive, and cast some dragons. But if that doesn't work, well, you also have just a deck full of amazingly good dragons. This deck has ramp and a little bit of removal in the early part. Then it has big, scary dragons. Some of the newer dragons I've added into this deck are not actually dragons, like Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, who turns into a dragon but doesn't enter the battlefield as a dragon, but he does discount our dragon spell, so he's great to have. And of course we have the highly synergetic, always happy to have with Miirym, Spark Double, because if you Spark Double Miirym, then you make 3 Miiryms total, and then those 3 will mean that when a new dragon enters the battlefield, you end up with 4 of that dragon. And similarly, we have Double Major, which makes a token copy of Miirym that then sees Miirym enter the battlefield and makes another copy of Miirym. The more dragons, the merrier. And of course, these dragons get even better when you start giving them extra abilities, using these Orbs of Dragonkind. The Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind lets you give your dragons haste, and the A-Jade Orb gives them +1/+1 encounters and hexproof to protect them, so you can do all the cool stuff with them. A lot of dragons are just super strong, and there are dragons that care about other dragons. Wrathful Red Dragon is damage being dealt to your dragons, gets reflected. Lozhan is casting a dragon, lets you use that dragon's mana cost as burn. Lathliss makes you more dragons, and if you have these big cool dragons entering the battlefield, Terror of the Peaks is going to deal damage equal to their power to any target. There's so much cool dragon synergy, as long as you can get it to work. I would actually say that the coolest new dragons card is Invasion of Tarkir, because it's a really good piece of burn. It deals damage to any target other than itself, and if you have a handful of dragons, which you oftentimes will in this deck, it can deal like 5 total damage. That's fantastic. I really am a fan of the ramp into big boy archetype. I am a Timmy player at heart, and so I love this deck. I am running 2 counter spells in this just to help, you know, stop our opponents while we do our own things, but it's just Wash Away and Tails End. That's just my way of saying, yes, I see you trying to cast your Etali, and no, I'd like you to not. So we're going to take Miirym into the queue, and we're going to make a dragon, and then we're going to make 2. Chandra, Awakened Inferno. She's like a little board wipe and constant burn in the command zone. She's really strong and uncounterable. We do have 2 counter spells in our deck, and we won't be able to use them against her. They're going to be ramping up into Chandra, getting some of her emblems, and then, well, burning us out. I am going to name green on this, so I have more green. We already have more blue and more red in hand. Green-red are the 2 main colors of our deck, so we always want to focus our mana there. They have a good ramp start with Magda. We also have a good ramp start since we can play Key to the Archive next turn. Able to Mirror Breaker. Nice. Even more things that attack to make mana. We use our key. Demonic Tutor, Electrolyze. I'm actually eyeing this tutor here. I'm going to drop Arcane Signet. The reason I was thinking Demonic Tutor could be kind of spicy is I could use this to grab, for example, Spark Double. Or something else nice and tasty that we could use to terrify our opponent with a Terror of the Peaks. Because our opponent is in mono red, they are able to burn Miirym, but it takes a lot of spells and damage to kill something that's a 6/6. Alright, they have 5 mana now. Next turn, they'll definitely be able to play Chandra. Oh, look, little Chandra! Chandra's Regulator, so they can play this next turn. Oh, that's going to be so good for them, not for me. I want to make sure blue is being held up here. And the reason for that is because this Chandra, Dressed to Kill, is being played from outside of the hand. So I can cast Wash Away on it, for the cleave cost, or the non-cleaved cost, the regular cost. Hi, Chandra, dressed to kill. Yes, I see you eyeing Miirym. Miirym has ward too, so like it's a little harder to kill her just through burn. I am not blocking for exactly that reason. Hey girl, hey. Okay, they're just going for this Chandra. That's fine, I can't counter her. They +2. Do you pay the 1 to double it up? Yes, they do! I take damage. Let the burn commence! So I can probably end the game this turn. We're gonna go for Old Gnawbones. We get 2 Old Gnawbones, which means when I hit their face, we're gonna get 12 mana. That 12 mana then gets used for Terror of the Peaks, which is going to make 2 Terror of the Peaks. But since we have 12 mana, I can then follow up with Uro, and, well, you'll see how much damage this is. The answer? A lot. We can also do Tyrant of Care Ridges. I have enough mana. So, Terror of the Peaks sees Terror of the Peaks enter the battlefield. And now both Terror of the Peaks are going to see both Tyrant of Care Ridges enter the battlefield. And the Tyrant of Care Ridges also itself does 4 damage, so... triggers, 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 triggers. Burn, 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 burn. Blam, blam, kablamo. Good game. Radagast the Brown. A mono-green commander that gets you more creatures when a creature enters the battlefield under your control. But it's completely dependent on the creature types. Our opponent just did a whole bunch of mulligans. I don't actually know how many they did, but I saw a bunch. Okay, they mulled to 5, which seems like an odd choice. Hopefully they don't just leave the game really fast. 2 mana, an Ornithopter Paradise. That is indeed a good, unique creature type. A Thopter in a deck that cares about the type of the creature. So Radagast enters the battlefield, and they're going to look at the top 4 cards, and anything that happens to not be a Thopter, Avatar, or Wizard. They found Overgrown Battlement. Perfect! Good for what they're doing. I have a choice between various ramps here. I'm going to go for Cultivate. Grabbing some more lands in hand. Let's go for blue and red. Put the red one into play. Vorin collects. Vorin collects going to get them 2 more forests. And look at the top 5 cards. What do you find? Anything fun, Radagast? Oh, Minor Elf! And they even have 1 mana. Do you have any non-elf, druid, Phyrexian, Praetor, Avatar, Wizards, or Thopters in the top 1 card of your deck? The answer was, no, they don't. And that's fine. A Goblin. A land. An Orb. And I kind of want to spit flame something here. I'm going to spit flame the Ornithopter. The Anarchomancer is giving me a discount on my green and red spells, of which Miirym is one, of which Verdant Rejuvenation is one, of which Copper Dragon is one. And I'd love to just spit out that Copper Dragon, but right now, I do have to be very, very mindful of the fact that they can just destroy whatever permanent I play. And I see that Meteor Golem. Very meaty. Very ore golem. Nice Caryatide. Since they attacked with this, and my Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind gives haste, I'm going to attack in. This is going to be heart of the cards here, because we roll a die. We hit face, deal 6 damage, and then roll a d20. We rolled a 6. So that's 6 mana, which is enough to cast Verdant Rejuvenation, which is going to get me a couple permanents. Just a few. We have Sarkhan here. I can make a dragon. Stop asking. I'm playing this. Great. Now any dragons in my hand cost one less, which there are none. Yeah. So off of that, we got 6 creatures, enchantments, or planeswalkers. We got Glorybringer, Fearsome Whelp, Lozhan, Delighted Halfling, and Sarkhan. They're gonna flip over Vorinclex so they can dig. I don't think that destroying one permanent gets them where they need to be. Destroying Sarkhan means that they can attack in without their creatures dying, but I'm going to be attacking in for so much damage. And if they didn't get something with reach, getting more treasures. So that's going to be GG Radagast. I must have upset somebody over in the matchmaker because they're putting me up against Jodah, the Unifier. Thankfully, this is a pretty dang good hand, so I'm hoping we can still compete against 5-color legends. Speaking of legends, Delighted Halfling makes ours uncounterable. Not that I expect that they'll be playing that many counter spells. I expect them to be playing really, really good legendary cards. We've got also some really nice ramp here. Dragon Speaker Shaman giving me like a super discount on my cards is huge. I'm going to play said Dragon Speaker Shaman, and it's going to make my dragons cost 2 less, which gives me a potential Miirym next turn. Throw down the Spire Bluff Canal and say, "Ahoy! It's dragon time!" Nice Swiftfoot Boots. Oh, also, if you're not familiar with Jodah, because we haven't seen him in a little while, Jodah gives your legendary creatures +X, including himself, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. When you cast a legend with him out on the battlefield, you end up doing a fake cascade. It's not technically cascade, but you cast a legend, and it gets you the next legend in your deck that costs less. So I think we're in a really, really solid place here. Because we get double Old Gnawbone, swing on in, hit for 8. That's going to get me 16 mana. We play the Tyrant of Care Ridges, or Burn Rejuvenation. We put like 20 things into the battlefield. Yeah, we won that game. See? We can beat Jodah. We're so strong. Ooh, so strong. Etali, Primal Conqueror. Just like me, they want to ramp. But when they cast their commander and it enters the battlefield, they get a lot more value than I do right away. So we're going to try to undermine them by attacking in early with our good friend, Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer. My best little monkey friend. We also have a bit of haste next turn. A Fearsome Whelp. We're swinging in with both. That's 3 damage. And a treasure! Our Lathliss also now costs less mana, which is great. Somberwald Sage does mean that they can play Etali next turn, if they still have a Somberwald Sage at the end of the turn, which I don't think they will. I think we're going to be using Dragon's Fire to take it out. Oh, a Lotus Cobra. Can play the Lotus Cobra. Going to name Dragon. Float a red mana. Use that red mana for the Dragon's Fire. And kill the Sage. We have successfully shot down the ramp. Ian's gets them. Another land comes in untapped. With 2 mana left, they could play more ramp. Yep, Coldsteel Heart. So they are able to play Etali next turn. Which hopefully is totally fine here because we're going to have a really nice turn. Okay, a Destiny Spinner. I'm not that worried about counter spells from them. We could do 6, 7, 8. Yep, alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Miirym, and we're going to double her. So we're going to use double major targeting Miirym on the stack, which means we get a token copy of Miirym, who then sees Miirym enter the battlefield and makes a token copy of Miirym. So we have 3 6/6s, and we'll see what they get. They got Wrathful Red Dragon and Vorinclex. So that is 2 blockers, one of which will reflect damage onto us. And this gets them to Forest. But we don't even need to see that because the Terror of the Peaks is going to be what wins this game. Copying Lathliss? Oh, no. It's about copying the Terror of the Peaks. We'll get ourselves a little extra red mana here. We're going to play Terror of the Peaks, and we're going to get a copy. And each copy is going to see each other copy as it enters the battlefield. So we burn our opponent without ever attacking in. I want to say that game was won because of Bragavan. Thank you, Bragavan. You were the ramp I needed. Blue Cheese is playing the First Sliver, which is probably not actually a sliver deck. It probably has 0 slivers in it other than the First Sliver. The First Sliver does have Cascade. It's quite cool, and it's really good at playing, well, good stuff in 5 colors. Because why have a theme when you can just play good cards? Legion Caryatid. They shock and esteem vents. They're exploring. But I have a plan. Is it a good plan? It's a plan. It's a plan. My plan is to have a hasty Old Gnawbones. Maybe 2 hasty Old Gnawbones. Oh, I guess the token wouldn't be hasty. Play this Crucible. Discount my dragons. I'm going to play Moonveil Regent. Because it lets the Caryatid tap for 2. And then Rhythm of the Wilds. Decline. I'm very happy with the cards in my hand. Good old Gnawbones, my favorite girl boss of the D&D dragons. She just wants to be a person. She thinks she's people. So Tasha, no creatures in a graveyard, so they just plus. Yavimaya Coast. Oh, this is gonna be such a nice, cheap old Gnawbones. Alright, so I have 3, 4, not enough of that. I think we just go for old Gnawbones. Hasty face smashing old Gnawbones. Klein. We do that next. Haste, absolutely. Settle the Wilds. And I will discard my hand. Get a land. Get a land. Lathliss has been drawn. So I can either hit face or hit Tasha. It kind of depends on how afraid am I of a board wipe specifically. And I'm going to say I'm actually decently afraid. So I'm going to try to take out Tasha here. Even though it means I'm getting a lot less mana. All this is just me trying to bank for the next turn anyway. Though they can cast pretty much whatever. It's like, I have to be afraid of Emergent Ultimatum is the big thing here. Reach the Multiverse. Alright, they can bring that back. They could also take whatever the biggest dragon is that they milled. Atsushi looks like a pretty good pick. And on there, and just Tasha. Wow, you milled no creatures or planeswalkers. Alright, Tasha. If you minus, you get a Llanowar Elf or a Gadrak. If you plus, you shrink my creatures down even more. Which do you crave? I know what I crave. Miirym. Klein. Haste. Everyone gets haste. Lathliss. More haste. Yeah, okay, I'll put Uro in the graveyard. The token copy does not get haste. Everybody's going to swing in. My creatures are going to shrink. Oh no, I'm shrinking. We make a few treasures. And since Atsushi was killed, they get to find an Emergent Ultimatum and a Jetmir. Scary. Well, escape Uro. Try and find something useful here. And I'm actually going to exile some creatures from our graveyard. I'm going to leave Llanowar Elf so there will always be an option. They minus 5. I already know where that is. Yes, discard my hand. We've already had our attacks this turn. Land into battlefield. This one. And we are going to bargain this. I actually think bargaining away the Rhythm of the Wild, or potentially the Lathliss token, because like if we're killing them, we're already killing them through this, and we want to maximize our mana here. Red, red, green, red. Okay, so I have enough that I can ping only 4 total times. I'm gonna keep digging. Invasion of Tarkir. Discard my hand. Yeah, Imrith isn't doing it for me either. Double major, cute. And we'll use up a little bit more mana here. Just ping them. Okay. So now they have 3 spells from their deck. Which spells, though? Well, they're going to get to pick them, and I'll choose 2 for them to get to play. Very often it's extra turn, free spells. Two of their extra turn spells are already gone. I saw they're in the graveyard, but unfortunately they're easy to bring back because oftentimes they play things that either return those to hand or just get cast for free from the graveyard. I don't know if they'd want to go for a board wipe because they know I have Uro, who comes back very quickly after a board wipe, and Rhythm of the Wild. So they went for Chandra, Omni, Farewell. Show me what you got in hand. Is it a board wipe? Probably.
This war ends today.
There's 2 exiling board wipes. So I mentioned before, casting the things for free from the graveyard. That's what the Scholar does. And they already had that in hand. So, like, if they wanted to, they could just do that. So they're gonna double Time Warp. They plus the Tasha.
Best shot, adventurers.
And because they're getting 2 extra turns,
We can do this together.
they're gonna get to either steal from me. I can ping it once. It's not quite enough. Where the Slivers at? This is a First Sliver deck. They don't have Slivers. Omni only lets them cast things for free from their hand. So thankfully, this +1 that Chandra has won't give them access to the other cards. Okay. Double Molten Impact. Probably because they have good creature removal, but not as much Planeswalker removal.
This is a tragedy for all Dragonkind.
They plus again on Tasha.
Come any closer.
Would you like to play your first Sliver? No. I'll block with Uro. Day of Judgment! I'm feeling very judged right now.
I can
Get him.
out of any predicament.
And here comes their first Sliver. They cascade into Moonveil Regent. I guess it's good with your commander. They have taken their extra turns. Thankfully, Reflection of Kiki Jiki won't be able to copy the Scholar because it's in the graveyard. And these cards are Not instants or sorceries. Tasha pluses. They're gonna want to leave that back as a blocker. Trying to think if I think they have a counter spell. Oh wait, I have a Rhythm of the Wild. Who cares? They can counter my double major. Haste! So when the Moanvale Regent dies, they can choose to deal 5 damage. Possibly killing Miirym. They went for my face. Chandra, would you like to just, like, blast these two? Targets just, like, deal 10 damage. Oh, look! A Supreme Verdict! I think they have enough mana to replay the First Sliver. And they're gonna steal 3 dragons. Ooh, nice. A Town Razor Tyrant, Ragavan, and Dragon Speaker Shaman.
They help me win. Got a feeling this'll work.
And, ugh, Rusko. All my homies hate Rusko. As they should. He's a menace. Alright, get out that First Sliver. Decline. If I die to Chandra, it'll be better than dying to any of these other chumps. Boop, 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 boop. Haste. Chronic debut. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Says any target on it. Says any target on it. It says any target on it. We win. Sorry, I'm like sitting there and silent like 1 plus 4 plus 1, 6, right? It was. I did the math. Zariel, Archduke of Avernus. If you're worshipping her, you're in for a troublesome time. She spits out devils, gives things haste and a buff. And I want to say she gives you extra combat abilities on her ultimate. Yeah, extra combat. Everybody loves some extra combat. I love extra combat. So Zariel, I assume, is going to be aggressive in red. Oh, are you a goblin deck? Wait, I'm kind of into this. Zariel goblins? Well, that's not a goblin. I mean, like, this is a goblin. But this isn't. This is just, like, a good card in red. Got something I can play that will help me discount things. We just go for Key, though. Key is the easiest way to guarantee, like, Miirym next turn. Day of Judgment, Lightning Bolt, D-Spark. I'll take a Day of Judgment. Dropping Masked Vandal. Yeah, they just keep playing all these little creatures here that I'm going to want to wipe the board before I play my commander. Battlecry Goblin gives these all haste. And we're gonna tap you for white. Green, blue. Cultivate first. Let's grab a green and another green. Play the green stuff. Wipe the board. Nice. Okay, cool. Bringing out Sarkhan. You don't get haste, right? Gosh, I wish you would. We want to do everything on the same turn. So we just sit here with our Sarkhan. Because Sarkhan will become a color here. Ah, there's another goblin thing. Alright, we get to do the stuff here, though. So we're gonna play Miirym. We're gonna let Sarkhan become a copy of Miirym. So we have 2 Miiryms, sort of. Which means we get 2 copies of Atsushi. Sure, you can come into play. I'll name Blue. We attack Zariel. And then you go back to being Sarkhan. Ta-da! See? He has synergy. It's just really weird synergy. Krenko's command. So this is a goblin deck. Ow. Hey. I'm not dead yet, but let's see. Okay, so Zariel can't come out next turn. Because we have the Tail's End. So I can also either stop Krenko's tap ability or Zariel in order to stay alive, win the game. Yeah, so I'm just going to counter the Krenko ability. Are there Goblin Planeswalkers? There's Duretti. Double strike and haste. I wouldn't have been able to stop that anyway. All right, well, we're taking, I think, 16 damage exactly. No, wait, you're not a goblin. You're a devil. We live at 1. It didn't get double strike. Whee! Dragons! Satoru Umezawa. Satoru Umezawa is a ninjutsu commander, going to be playing little, unblockable, or difficult to block creatures and using them to get unavoidable damage that actually turns into completely different creatures. If an unblocked creature is coming my way, Satoru says, for 3 mana, that can actually become any other card that's in my hand. And trust me when I say some of those cards are really good. You can turn an Ornithopter into an Ulamog. You can turn, I don't know, the itty-bitty one-drop flyer Siren Storm Tamer or similar into, I mean, we can say with a Hullbreaker Horror. They're good cards. Let's see, you've got black and color, so they don't actually have blue mana yet. That's kind of good for me. Means I'm not that afraid of ninjutsu next turn. So there are some cards that just innately have ninjutsu, but most of the ones that you'd be getting out this early are not as devastating. So Satoru comes out, Ornithopter's just going to sit there, and since I have a Dragon Speaker Shaman out, I can actually just, like, play dragons. I'm gonna go for Miirym into Fearsome Whelp. And now I have blockers to spare, and Fearsome Whelp is going to discount the last dragon in my hand, which is Old Frickin' Gnawbones! Imagine casting a 3 mana Old Gnawbones and getting 2 of her. Yeah. Yeah. Since Miirym does have Ward 2, they're gonna have to spend all their mana here to take her out, which is totally fair. Old Gnawbone's still only costs 3 mana, but I won't get 2 of her. I'll take 3. Ooh, an Earthquake Dragon. Start with Old Gnawbones. Ha, hi there, Earthquake Dragon. Yeah, I could just play this. I'd rather have two of them, but I'll take one. I'll swing in with Dragon Speaker Shaman. I pretty much just want to maintain the maximum number of blockers. Because I know what Satoru does. Also, hi, Earthquake Dragon. What's cool about Earthquake Dragon is it can come back from the graveyard. Battlefly Swarm! Can get Death Touch. That means it could trade with a dragon. This dragon does have trample, though. They've unsummoned my Dragon Speaker Shaman. A little late on that one, but, you know, I got my value out of it. Is Scraps looking like a little huffy puffy? Good. I love her. My cat's in the other room. I assume she's getting pet on the head? Good cat right there. So I'm going to attack in with my Earthquake Dragon. They can still block. Give this Death Touch. That's fine. As I mentioned before, it comes back from the graveyard. And I'll still get a few treasures. An approximate 8. Bringing out the Dragon Speaker Shaman. Hey there. Miirym's now at a sweet dank discount. Hi, I'm getting like air high five from the other room. Oh no, I'm being mimed at. Hi, Alana. There's a wall made out of the internet, even though you're 6 feet away from me. Do I need to pay one? Yes. So tragic. I hope that eventually I get to be on game nights. I'm still very happy I've gotten to be on Extra Turns. There's a 3rd Extra Turns episode, by the way, coming out. And if you haven't seen the 2 ones I'm already in, you definitely should, because they're really fun. Okay, 13 life remain. Let's get silly out here. An Ancient Kappa Dragon. Ooh, should we bring out that Earthquake Dragon? I think so. I'll sacrifice my forest. And I want to say Earthquake Dragon's gonna cost, like, 1 mana. Oh, yeah. That's a 1 mana 10/10. I'm sorry, actually it's 2 1 mana 10/10s. And we swing in the air. Oh, and Alex Yangder, thank you so much for the sub. Oh, cool. This took the damage so we can win. Yorion, Sky Nomad, a big blinky birdie. Caca. It's a bird serpent, which is actually a really cool creature type. The Sky Noodle. Yorion is a relatively dangerous commander because it doesn't just blink creatures, it blinks non-creatures, which can add up to, you know, taking you out really quickly in a lot of games. Cutting you off from things by repeatedly exiling your various cards. And because it's in blue and white, it also can be supplemented by some good removal and counter spells. And I expect them to have counter spells because I see a search for his Canta right there. That's just typically what that means. I guess I'll just play my Restless Spire. Pass the turn. It's a Scoodle. Oodles of Scoodles. They surveil. They kept whatever the card was on top. Goes in their hand. A Skyclave Relic. They're ramping. I'm going to name Dragon here. Kind of like just getting out the Townraiser Tyrant. Hit their Glacial Fortress. Now their Glacial Fortress is going to deal 2 damage to them each turn. I thought about also doing Dragonlord Servant, since it allows me to play Miirym next turn. But I felt that, like, Making them choose between damage and getting to keep their land was extra mean. They have enough mana now for Yorion, but they don't really have anything to blink since Skyclave Relic, it just gives them 1 more mana. But 1 more mana is all they need if they want to counter something. Cast from outside my hand with the card Wash Away. I'll play Otawara. 5 total to animate. Darn. I was thinking the Restless Vinestalk, we could turn that into a 3/3. Would be very fun. Fun for me, not so much for them. Search for his Canta. They look at the top card. Does it go into hand or into the graveyard? I don't know what they're searching for. They played that Yorion, I believe, mostly just to block the dragons. Flicker of Fate. Okay. Good flicker card. I take another 2 because, yeah, you don't want to be dropping your lands this early. If they pass with a good amount of mana up, I'm going to play Inferno of the Star Mounts over Miirym because of counterspells, which I identified before is a thing that this deck definitely does. Since I have up the Beanstalk as well, I'd still be drawing a card. Yeah, so they're passing with tons of mana open, so we're just going to go straight for Inferno of the Star Mounts. This spell can't be countered. A very good piece of text. I'll swing on in. Oh, maybe they have a board wipe getting ready to go. Could have been a Sublime Epiphany, rather sus. Totally could have been. Pass back to them. My guess is it's just going to be a board wipe. Possibly Planeswalker that doubles as a board wipe. Farewell. Thank you, Townraiser Tyrant. Your little land on fire has done so much for me. Okay, Wrath of God. It's not too unusual. So far, though, this is not a blink deck. Like, we saw the Flicker of Fate. They have done nothing for blinking. I'll play Miirym. Hopefully she does not get countered, but she might. Yep, she got countered. Okay, bring her back to the command zone. Yeah, number of blinkable permanents they've played so far is a no. Yeah, this is just some Azorius control. Dream Trawler. Again, not really blinkable, but sure, you do you. I am going to play Lathliss. A fine backup commander if Miirym's not available. And then we're going to get at the Masked Vandal. Masked Vandal is going to let me exile either Search for his Canta or Skyclave Relic. I'm going to be going for Search for his Canta because I do think that this is just a control deck. We also get a fresh, hot 5/5 dragon because Masked Vandal is a dragon. It's also a Sphinx. It's also sand. It's also a bird serpent. It's also a horse. Glacial Fortress, still burning them. Ah, they sacrificed it. Nice. That gives them 6 total mana. Where's Grandpa? Straight at Lathliss. I'll trade my dragon for your Dream Trawler. If they attack in with that, they do get to draw. Ooh, or maybe they have a bounce. Bounce effects on tokens are real rude, since they just negate the existence of the card. We block. I said we block. There we go. And they ephemerate, so they drew the card. But now it's just back on the battlefield as a 3/5. Oh, Gadrick. How about a Sokenzan? We draw a card off up the beanstalk. Have you had a wash away in hand this whole time? I know this is also holding priority because this has the ability to get hexproof, discarding a card. This thing, by the way, was such a boogeyman in Theros Beyond Death as a limited format. So difficult to beat. I think we're going to go for double Gadrick into Earthquake Dragon next turn. While this person still, like, they have played 2 cards, or well, they played one and then they discarded one, or surveilled one at blink. This has not felt like a blinky card, a blinky deck. Okay, so they're phasing out their Dream Trawler and then destroying all creatures. Sure. Listen, I can't stop you from playing like this. Yeah, I'll play Miirym again. We get them beans. Board wipe, board wipe. Counterspell, counterspell. What else you got? Anything fun? They've shown me the Hall of Storm Giants. Yorion. They can blink that. I don't know if they'd want to blink Midnight Clock. Yeah, I don't think they do. And they concede. Because they're just kind of out of stuff. Yeah, next turn, we were going to Spark Double Miirym, which would have given us 3 Miiryms. We'd get Earthquake Dragon out for 1 mana, which would get me 4 10/10s on the board. And, I mean, at that point, we're drawing cards. We have an extremely powerful board. It's pretty much they draw another board wipe or they lose the game. And it looks like the answer was they lose the game. Edgar, Charmed Groom. He makes vampires stronger, and if he dies, he returns as his coffin, which creates more vampires until he flips back over and goes right back to buffing them. Edgar's pretty good. And a great excuse to play Orzhov Vampires. I very recently updated my Edgar deck. And I think it turned out pretty well. They said, hello, hi! I'm really hoping that they don't kill my Scrap Forger. Because if they do, and I don't get out of land, I can't settle the wilds. Dusk Legion Zealot, this draws them a card. Good cantrip and vampire. Managed to get a land there. But I'd rather get a 3-drop than a 4-drop right here. That's why we settled before playing the land. We have some 3-drops. Most of them are ramp. And ramp, good. At 4, we start getting into the dragons. The dragons. We're gonna name Red. We scry. And we find... Inferno of the Star Mounts. Nice. Is that what I want, though? Not as much. Not as much what I want. I'm going to play Sarkhan. And the Sarkhan has a passive ability which pings attacking creatures based on the number of dragons I have. I believe the dragons actually deal the damage, so if you have a dragon with Death Touch, then it kills the attacking creatures. Also, Sarkhan becomes a dragon. Oh no, he's dead! Oh well. Rippy peppies. I still have a 4/4 dragon. Fabled Passage gets them another black source of mana. They're up to 4. They could play Edgar. Edgar makes me Deadgar. I like that Edgar kind of leans into a nice aristocrats theme, too. Oh, no, it's Drana and Linvala! What do I have to say about Drana and Linvala? Technically? Technically a vampire. I can't tap this for mana. This can tap for mana, which puts me in a kind of silly spot here. I could play Townraiser Tyrant, hit one of their manlands. Play Sarkhan to try and double spell next turn. I'll go for the Townraiser Tyrant. Do I want to stop this or that? I'm going to stop Cave of the Frost Dragon because it can fly. Yeah, the Restless Fortress does not fly. They're just two gals hanging out, stealing people's abilities. You kill my Townraiser Tyrant? Ooh, maybe they'll exile it. Bye, TRT. Getting turt. I have enough mana now for Miirym. But I'm going to start just by attacking Kaya. Nice, Kaya's off the battlefield. Miirym! Hoping that ward helps protect her enough to keep her alive. So, 4 mana, like 2 mana for kill spell plus 2 mana for the ward. And that's a possibility this turn. I'm hoping we can get the double Lozhan, because I think it would be really cool. Hey girl, I'm bigger than you. Sarkhan for that dank discount. And the Lozhan! We get 2 Lozhans. A Sarkhan can technically become a Lozhan. Like, you're not doing anything. But it's cute that there's 3 of you. Swinging for 6! And now we have a bunch of 4/2. So what's cool about the Lozhans is they will trigger on us casting a dragon and let us do burn to anything except for their commander. It's so weird. You can hit their face. You can hit their creatures. You can hit their planeswalkers. You can hit battles. You cannot hit a commander. Oh, okay. Meathook Massacre. They're all dead. Miirym is like, Nani? I think we just have lethal off the Restless Vine stock. Let's animate our land. And finish this off. GG, Spooky Witch. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars. As always, if you'd like to catch my stream, come on over. I stream almost every single day at twitch.tv/Amazonian, and I play a lot of Historic Brawl, a whole bunch of draft, and occasionally other formats as I crave them. Miirym's awesome. She's a dragon that makes more dragons, and there's nothing more fun than big flying creatures. If you like the deck list is in the description, and if there's another commander you'd like to suggest, especially one that's spooky for the Halloween season, or a big monster like Miirym, let me know. I'm also revisiting a lot of decks. This was actually a revisited deck. We've played our Miirym before, and we'll play her again too. I'm always happy to update my decks. And if you ever want those updated deck lists, just come over to my stream and type !deck in the channel while I'm live, and it will get you my deck list. It's a really good way to find the most up-to-date version of my lists. Thank you so much for watching, and have a brawlful day.